going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe. Daily Manchester City transfer updates coming throughout all of the summer transfer window, so you can stay up to date on YouTube every single day with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. It is free to subscribe, so if you do want to subscribe, then do press that red button. Social media links there in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships or any videos or any general business inquiries. TikTok link also in the description if you want to go and follow me on there. Leave a thumbs up, 300 likes is the aim, and also don't forget as well to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So we've got lots to get through. We're going to start off with the outs, and we've got the very latest on Lewis Fiorini. Now, Mark Henry, that's Hend with a D, Hendry, not Henry, like the WWE wrestler. He says that Hibs in Scotland, they want to sign Lewis Fiorini from Manchester City on loan. There's plenty of interest out there in Fiorini, so it'll be very interesting to see where he does end up. And at the moment, it is being discussed about a loan deal, not a permanent transfer. However, speaking of young players and permanent transfers, moves us on to Cieran Slicker, and the Ipswich Star say that Cieran Slicker, he is set to join Ipswich Town on a permanent transfer. He's a goalkeeper, spent last season out on loan at Rochdale. It was a frustrating loan for him, but has a chance here for a fresh move and a fresh start with a permanent transfer to Ipswich Town, which is set to be complete. Speaking of other young players and permanent transfers, moves us on to Manuel Veth. He's also left Manchester City on a permanent transfer, and he is now signed for Middlesbrough, which is what we was reporting on yesterday. He's signed a 4-year deal. There is no mention of a fee. There's no mention of it being undisclosed, which is very strange. So I don't actually know how much Middlesbrough have paid for Manuel Veth and whether they have actually paid anything for him. Strange. Anyway, best of luck to Morgan at Borough and for the rest of his career as a professional football player. Now, moving on, we've got the very latest on Shea Charles, and the Mail say that Shea Charles, he'll be joining Southampton for a deal worth £11 million, not £9 million as reported yesterday by Fabrizio Romano, and the medical is due this weekend. However, the MEN, they've disagreed with that. We've had 3 fees put out there now, £9.5 million, £11 million, and the MEN are saying it's a deal worth £10.5 million, with add-ons could rise to as much as £15 million. So Shea Charles, he'll be leaving Manchester City. He will become a Southampton player. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when that's going to be sorted. Now, moving on, and speaking of Southampton, we've also got an update on Carlos Borges, and the Athletic say that Southampton, they have revived their interest from January in trying to sign Carlos Borges from Manchester City. The Athletic say there are a number of Premier League clubs chasing his signature. There's interest from the Bundesliga as well, and strong interest coming in from Southampton. Manchester City will more than likely do the exact same as what's happening with Shea Charles, which will be a good sell-on fee included, a buyback clause included, and I imagine Man City will be pretty open to where they sell Carlos Borges to, but they will want to sell him to a club that are going to try and utilise him. So Manchester City, for the sake of the business, will either be able to have a great player who develops really nicely that we can either bring back to the club, or if Southampton are going to sell on for profit, which so often they do, Romeo Lavia is a brilliant example of that, and if that does happen, then Manchester City have a really good sell-on fee that we can profit from that transfer, which is what will happen with Romeo Lavia. There's a sell-on fee included. Man City will get some money from that sale of Romeo Lavia. Anyway, moving on, we've got the very latest on Kyle Walker, and Fabrizio Romano has been reporting that this coming week is going to be a big week for Kyle Walker, as he is going to decide on what he's going to do with his future next. Is it going to be a new contract at Manchester City, or is he going to reject this new contract and pursue a move for a new challenge away from the club, with Bayern Munich being heavily linked? What I will say is take things with a pinch of salt. This was being reported last week that this week coming up was going to be a big week. It turned out no decision has been made on Kyle Walker's future, and now next week's going to be that big week. So we'll wait and see. Anyway, BILD over in Germany have said that Bayern Munich, they are growing in confidence to sign Kyle Walker from Manchester City this summer. They're offering a 2-year deal with the option of a third. They await Kyle Walker's decision, and if his decision is that he wants to leave Manchester City, Bayern Munich are ready to negotiate with Manchester City for a fee to make Kyle Walker a Bayern Munich player. Remember, Kyle Walker does have 11 months left on his Manchester City contract. A new offer has been put in by Manchester City, apparently believed to be 2-year deal. I don't know whether it's 12 months with the option of another 12 months or whether it is just a straight up 2-year contract extension. We'll have to wait and see, and we await what Kyle Walker's decision is, and I'm hoping that he'll stay, because I think he's a top quality player who still has a lot to offer Manchester City. Now, moving on to the final transfer, we've got a big update here on Aymeric Laporte. Now, it's been pretty quiet when it comes to Laporte. We know there's been interest from Spurs. Laporte said no. There's been interest from Aston Villa. Manchester City have said no. Now, Corriere Dello Sport over in Italy say Juventus, they're keen on signing Aymeric Laporte, and they believe that 30 million euros will be enough to get the deal to happen, which to me is a little low, because that's 25.5 million pounds. Digest that. Laporte's going into his prime years. He's a Premier League proven defender. He's a Spanish international player. He's brilliant with his ball distribution. He's a fantastic centre-back. To me, he walks into most other top European defences. And yet Juventus could pick him up for a low fee of £25.5 million. Now, I know we're not going to be able to get all the money back, the £55-60 million for Laporte. It's just not going to happen in this market, but £25.5 million I think is a little low, and if I were Manchester City, I'd be trying to negotiate that to try and get some good add-ons included on that, try and get that fee up, try and get it to, maybe around £40 million, I think would be a fairer price for Aymeric Laporte, in my complete honest opinion. But that's the first we're hearing of Laporte potentially leaving Manchester City for the first time in the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is interesting, because that moves me nicely on to the next transfer, and speaking about Josko Gvardiol, because Manuel Veth at TransferMarkt has said that no meaningful progress has been made towards this deal between Josko Gvardiol, RB Leipzig and Manchester City over the last few days. Now, it does stress that this deal isn't on the verge of collapsing, but it may take more time than originally thought. Now, all I can think of here, potentially for this transfer to be dragging on this long with very little progress being made, is Manchester City dragging their heels. That could be down to numerous reasons. Normally the most common reasons that you'll find that is not happy with the fee, negotiating the fee. Maybe Man City aren't happy with the £86 million fee that Leipzig want for Josko Gvardiol. I'm not sure, and City are trying to negotiate that down with payment structures and add-ons and things like that. But if we're not talking and no progress is being made, it's suggesting to me that maybe that isn't the reason, and perhaps Man City are just waiting to look into their squad, selling 1 or 2 players, seeing how much money they are making in terms of their net spend and how much money they're making in terms of the business, and also freeing up a little bit of space in our squad. Because if Laporte ends up staying, we bring Gvardiol in, all of a sudden we are stacked when it comes to centre-backs. To me, we have 1 extra centre-back than what we need if we bring Gvardiol in and no centre-backs do leave. A lot could depend on what happens with Kyle Walker, because that will free up a space at centre-back. It does depend on what happens with Laporte and Manchester City negotiating a fee. So I think that that may be the reason here due to this deal. There's lots of other reasons why there may be no meaningful progress happening. What I will say is, reading between the lines, Man City are not being linked with any other centre-backs. I know yesterday we were getting linked with Sven Botman, but that was a link earlier in the summer. Manchester City are firmly focused on Josko Gvardiol, and whilst there's no other names being put out there, which could be used as a tactic by Manchester City, Man City could say, if we get linked with other centre-backs, Leipzig know that we're prepared to walk away in an attempt to try and get them to renegotiate the price if we're not happy with the price. I'm not aware that that is the situation, and going off other transfers that we've done in the past, in particular when we have sagas that are dragging on, like we had with Jorginho, like we had with Kalidou Koulibaly, Man City weren't getting linked with any alternatives. It very much was, this is the player that we want, we're trying to make this transfer happen, and if this transfer doesn't happen, we will walk away and we'll assess the market again and potentially make a move for somebody else, rather than getting linked whilst we're still trying to make a move for somebody else. Not really how Manchester City do their business. So, as I said, there's a whole host of reasons as to why there's no meaningful progress being made. I don't know for fact what that reason is. It is mere speculation. I suspect Man City will want to see how much room has been created in their squad, what finances they're looking at, and what they can pay in terms of the structure for Josko Gvardiol. And it may need 1 or 2 player sales, and the clarification of the future of the likes of Cancelo, Laporte, Kyle Walker before Manchester City can tie this transfer up. Remember, we do want Gvardiol in time for pre-season. The clock is ticking on that. Next week's going to be a big week, not just for Kyle Walker, but I feel for Josko Gvardiol as well. And right now, I'm still very confident a deal will be found and Josko Gvardiol will become a Manchester City player. Personal terms are agreed, everything's sorted on that end. It is literally just a fee and Manchester City getting that one sorted. Maybe Man City are just very relaxed about the situation and just taking their time, but big transfers with big fees, they do take time. I wouldn't rule this out going on right in through all of July, maybe even towards August, but ideally we want Josko Gvardiol in our squad ready for pre-season, for the start of the season. We'll see. Negotiations, hopefully, will continue. So there we go. That has been today's transfer update. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciated. Do leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim. Also, don't forget as well to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you are new around here. Daily Manchester City transfer updates coming for you guys on YouTube to keep you up to date throughout all the summer transfer window when it comes to the latest Manchester City transfer news every single day. Also, don't forget as well, social media links. They're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. TikTok link also in the description if you want to go and follow me on there. And religiously, I'll see you again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.